Listen, could you give Mr. Tomasulo a message for me? Yes. If he needs me, tell him I'm in my office!
Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look, and you'll see into your imagination.
Now, I know I've talked about this a little bit during some of the live streams and conversations I've had on air, but I've never really done a video on my favorite television show of all time. I just wanted to do a quick little fun video today about George Costanza, one of my favorite television characters and all of his insanity. But as messed up and as many problems as George had, there had to be something at the root of it, maybe the like ground zero of all of his issues and insecurities and hang-ups that he suffered through during the entire run of the show. Wouldn't one think so? I mean, I really don't know where George could get it from, you know? I mean, it's kind of a mystery where George Costanza gets his anger and rage issues from.
It's their temper on their side. They're yelling, and then one day, they're all gone.
I mean, isn't there something to be said for parents who cut their kids off because they simply annoy them?
What about your side? Your cousin Henny. She was sickly from the moment I met her.
Don't you talk about Henny!
I mean, let's be honest, I'm almost 40, and some of the stuff from my childhood still has me in therapy. Not too serious, almost comical, sadly funny, but yeah, it really does. I mean, Frank and Estelle were obviously a huge part of George's problems, but Jason Hankey was one of them too. I mean, if you remember the episode The Apology, it gave us some of the best George Costanza rage moments ever.
You're an alcoholic! You have to apologize!
Remember when George just wanted an apology from Jason Hankey for saying his head would stretch out the neck hole of his finely knit cashmere sweater? That's all he wanted.
Step 9! Step 9!
I'm so sorry that I didn't want your rather bulbous head struggling to find its way through the normal-sized neck hole of my finely knit sweater.
I mean, let's be honest, George was a great punching bag this episode. Which, of course, led to this, one of my favorite George Costanza meltdown moments right here, when he just freaked out about it.
I felt like a straight man in some horrible sketch. He was riffing! Am I paying?
Yeah, this gave us one of the best, funniest George lines from this episode right here. There's so many to choose from, though, and David Dunnard was great in his response.
So now you want an apology for the apology plus the original apology?
That's right.
I mean, was it too much to ask for just a simple apology? And then he got tricked into going to a Rageaholics meeting, which he probably needed.
Instead of an apology, he was bebopping and scotting all over me.
I mean, Hanky was in Alcoholics Anonymous, and who's to say George wouldn't harass someone in Alcoholics Anonymous? He drugged his boss's drink out of revenge and spite for him firing him and embarrassing him.
He never apologized to me for saying that I would stretch out the neck hole on his sweater.
All George's best efforts were thwarted as he was embarrassed and humiliated again by Hanky by the end of this episode because George can't win.
Take a look at his neck. Not to mention the melon sitting on top of it. I don't know if I trust him with a V-neck.
But I mean, really, would George Costanza really ever get over on Jason Hankey? I mean, it is James Spader after all, really.
He's bebopping and scotting, and I'm losing it! What? Rageaholics? George, this can help you. Hey, I am not here for rage. I'm here for revenge.
Excuse me. We have a no yelling policy at these meetings.
Excuse me. Am I talking to you, Pinhead? Am I?
Please don't call me Pinhead.
Now, the next episode I'm going to talk about is the dealership, and I have a lot of knowledge of this because I worked in the car industry for 6 years doing finance and pretty much everything under the sun, and George wasn't wrong about a lot of stuff.
Would you like to report a problem with one of your mechanics?
When did you bring your car in?
Yeah, right. I'm going to get my car repaired at a dealership. Why don't I just flush my money down the toilet?
I mean, really, if you haven't bought the extended warranty or you're not under warranty, you're really just throwing money down the toilet at $85 an hour.
One of your guys, Kip or Ned, short name, stole my Twix candy bar.
Are you saying he grabbed your candy bar away from you?
He might as well have.
And I mean, George was a reasonable man with a reasonable request here, wasn't he, at the end of it?
All I want is my 75 cents back, an apology, and for him to be fired.
I mean, and let's be honest, George's character was self-aware enough that George knew when George was getting screwed, because George was always getting upset when George was getting screwed, and this scene was the best.
Now, if this mechanic guy was, in fact, eating a Fifth Avenue bar, as he claims, wouldn't you agree he would have no problem picking one out from a candy lineup?
Candy lineup?
I've spent the last hour preparing 10 candy bars, with no wrappers or identification of any kind for him to select from. I give you the candy lineup.
Hey, Willie, check it out! Free candy!
That's my candy lineup!
Now, you had to know that this clip was going to be included in this video. Now, I hope you've enjoyed it so far because I really love Seinfeld and I really love George Costanza. So, without further ado, let's get to the denouement.
And you! How many Twix does that make for you today? Like 8 Twix? No.
I mean, in all honesty, that probably was like 8 Twix for this guy, and I really don't think he needs any more Twix. Let's be honest here, folks. Look at the fella.
Hey, this cork bar is good.
It's a Twix! They're all Twix! It was a setup! A setup, I tell you! And you ruined it! You've all screwed me again! Now give me one! Give me a Twix!
They're all gone.
Twix!
Yeah? Well, I had sex with your wife.
Shut your trap and stop kicking the seats! We're trying to watch the movie! And if I have to tell you again, we're gonna take it outside and I'm gonna show you what it's like! But you had to have the big set!
Who are you, George Costanza?
I'm the opposite of every guy you've ever met.
Now, before you go blowing your top saying, wait, you didn't include the best moment ever, you didn't include the best single one-liner George had with a one-off guest star on the show, and it's subjective, but this is my personal favorite. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, George and the late, great Gordon Jump from WKRP in Cincinnati as Mr. Tomasulo from Play Now. And just to set up some context for this one line, remember, Mr. Tomasulo had caught George lying about being handicapped because George had a slight limp from spraining his ankle when he first started at Play Now.
You got the job?
Jerry, it's fantastic. I love the people over there. They treat me so great. You know, they think I'm handicapped.
And boy, oh boy, did George really take advantage of that. I mean, let's be honest, since the movie Gremlins came out, haven't we all been kind of afraid of these little lift things that go up the stairs?
Hold on, they think you're handicapped.
Yeah, well, because of the cane. You should see the bathroom they gave me.
How can you do this?
How could he do it? Well, he did it like this, getting a boost and a ride from bodybuilder Spice Williams, who played one of his co-stars in this episode for just this scene.
Jerry, let's face it, I've always been handicapped. I'm just now getting the recognition for it. Name one thing I have that puts me in a position of advantage.
So here it is, folks. My favorite line, possibly, of the entire series of Seinfeld, delivered by Gordon Jump.
Attention Play Now employees. George Costanza's handicapped bathroom on the 16th floor is now open to all employees and their families. Well played. I'll see you in hell, Costanza.
There it is, folks. That is some of my favorite George Costanza moments. Now, if you guys like this video, please be sure to hit that share, subscribe, and bitch slap that like button for me, as I will take that as a sign as you want more Seinfeld-related content, and I will do a series of these for each character, and then a little bit more. What do you say? Well, it's time to take this thing home, shall we? As I tell you every time, here's all the spots you can find us across social media. Go ahead and pause the video if you need to write that down, but I'm pretty sure you're already following us, hopefully. If not, do it. Subscribe to The Place Reviews, because every now and then, times like this, I'll do the opposite. This video is the opposite of everything I've ever done, and well, let's see if it gets any traction, shall we? Subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to hit 200 by my birthday. And definitely click subscribe to join the Fandom Menace. Hail the Fandom Menace. Trust us, we're not as bad as they say we are. Sometimes we do the opposite. See? It works. You gotta trust the opposite. I'm E. Tepecuian of The Place to Be Reviews, and I have been here with all of yous. And what do I say at the end of every video? Remember, if I don't see you, have a great day, a pleasant tomorrow, and the jerk store called. They are running out of you. I'm just kidding. I love you guys. Thank you very much for being subscribers.